Hello, everyone. I'm Monica, the Creative Beast, and I wanted to have a little creative chat today. I thought I would make this little video as a response to the March Meet the Maker Challenge that is happening on Instagram. And the prompt of the day is most difficult make. And I'm having a little difficulty with that phrase and that idea for a couple of reasons. And I will probably have to have a chat about the differences between skill and talent in the future, but it goes in hand with my ideas about most difficult make. I've been doing this for a really long time. I've been creative since I was about 6, when my grandmother put a needle in my hand and I began to sew by hand and eventually by machine, and then I would draw, and I've painted, and I've done wood sculpture and clay sculpture, and I danced, and I write, I've made performance art, so I've been doing creativity for a long time. And I have to say that I think there are maybe 2 reasons why a project or a make would be difficult. That is, your materials are not acting the way you expect or want them to, or you're doing a project that is beyond the level of skill you have at the moment. I would say those are really the 2 reasons why anything would be difficult. And a project can be challenging if your materials aren't working right, if they're not reacting the way you expect them to. A project can be challenging if it does wind up being bigger than your skills allowed. And having ambition to take on a big project is admirable, but I just want to say, as a creative and somebody who is hoping to help adults reconnect to their creative instinct, to be very careful about both roads in your creative project. Sometimes our materials will not act the way we expect or want them to, and we have to learn how to deal with that, because I've learned also sometimes our materials know better than we do what really needs to come out. And if you have some ambition to do a project and it's beyond your skill level, be very careful about the frustration that will come up, because that, I think, is one of the biggest barriers that keeps people from indulging in creative projects. It winds up being a challenge when the skills are not there, and there's always a learning curve. I don't know how we got this idea as adults that we're supposed to be able to master something just like that, because that's not how things work. When we learned as a kid, we had a learning curve then. We will always have a learning curve when we take up something new. That's just the way it is. We cannot expect to be perfect right out of the gate. It just doesn't work that way. So if you take on a project that's bigger than your skill level, you'll encounter a lot of frustration and there will be disappointment, but don't let that stand in the way of either going back to make it better or starting over again with the lessons that you've learned along the way. So those are my thoughts about most difficult make, because honestly, I don't know that I've had very many difficult makes. I've had really great teachers. I've taken on a lot of projects that were big, but I don't know what would be a difficult make. But if I figure that out, I'll share it with the challenge. But I just wanted to say that let's not use the word difficult, but let's call it a challenge, because who doesn't like to take on a challenge and learn something new? And creativity is that kind of adventure. So thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I'll be back again to talk about skills versus talent and other things here on my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again next time.